What does it mean to be human? Asks author Sarah K. Peck. What does it mean to be human? Humanity, she says, is what you say to someone when you think no one's watching. Humanity is what you do when you're all by yourself. Humanity is what you feel when you watch another person suffering and decide to either do nothing or to do something. Humanity is the ability to reach out and hug somebody. Humanity is being grateful for our families, our friends, our loved ones, our ability to do something in the world. Peck goes on to say that our humanity is our ability to trust, the ability to connect, the ability to touch. To be human means that we can move and create and love and share and laugh. Humanity, the essential element or essence of being human, is more than what you do, though. It's who we are and who we are able to be together. But we have to also say it's not the collection of a bunch of items being human. Yes, yes. It's not the last round of investment funding you raised. It's not a job promotion. It's not a cubicle or making the Fortune 500 list. Humanity is not the amount of accolades we receive or the accomplishments that we may rack up, the number of subscribers or likes, number of friends we have on social media. Humanity is not about stuff. It's not about money. It's not about things. Am I preaching to the choir here? Humanity is not about celebrity or valuing one person's life over another. Sometimes we place too much emphasis on success and achievement, being defined as the best or the best or the bestest or the mostest, and it's not about any of that. Humanity is about celebrating the act of living and lives, all of them, all of our lives, because people matter. All of us, the weird ones, the poor ones, the different ones, the enthusiastic ones, the quiet ones. What connects all of us is the ability to connect and create community. Hello. The ability to share, the ability to tell our stories. Humans are the only ones that engage in storytelling. Scientists proved me wrong. And the ability to share our lives, the adventures of others, shows us what's possible and how to become more of ourselves by sharing our own stories along the way. I will say this, to be in community, to celebrate our sacred interdependence, is one of the most radically and powerfully subversive things we can do in this day and age. When the lie of individualism sinks us down under, when the false narrative of pulling ourselves up by the bootstraps strips us of our interdependence, when overconsumption of resources and goods is devoid of our moral responsibility to those most vulnerable, when the what about me-ism asks us to pick and choose whose suffering is most tantamount, as if that's possible, when doom scrolling and endless binge watching numbs our hearts and minds, to be in community, to count ourselves as among those who show up for each other, to be in community where we can share our stories and gather our collective strength together to make amazing and powerful things happen. This is the best of our shared humanity. And bonus, it's deeply wired within us. Neuroscientist Matthew Lieberman, in his new book, Social: Why Our Brains Are Wired to Connect, presents the case for how our social natures are not just a product of how we are raised or the culture that we're in. How exciting is that? It's an article about this book frames it as our social natures are actually visible in the design and function of our brains. It's in there. The inner workings of our bodies, they've evolved to support our complex social lives. We are each equipped with biological mechanisms that underlie our ability to empathize, cooperate, give, and love. We are wired to connect. And we set those wires on fire when we are together and make those connections deeper. Like, for example, that empathy when a loved one is in the hospital or a loved one loses a job or their home is destroyed by a fire. We feel some part of their pain viscerally. It resonates within us and leads us to generosity, selflessness, and compassion. We are wired to cooperate and to be generous. We want to be helpful. When we can, where we can, how often we can. Giving of our time, our talent, our treasure feels good. Bill, this is where you say, now double your pledge. There you go. It's been saying that all morning. Giving our time, our talent, our treasure feels good. We feel valued and appreciated. And know that our gifts to others and in community make a tremendous difference. You all are the ones that make this possible, right here, right now. And beloveds, we are wired for love and touch. Our brains and our bodies flood with good hormones that encourage more love and more touch. To this day, I still remember when a congregant came to me with tears in their eyes right after the pandemic and said, I come to service on Sundays for the hugs, for the warmth, for the connection, to remember what it is to be in community and relationship. Healthy attachments create meaning and belonging. We are wired for social connection. Research shows that when we have a variety of strong social connections, we actually feel more confident and secure in ourselves and our lives. Activist Grace Lee Boggs, who I love, said, the most radical thing I ever did was to stay put. And on the flip side, when we don't have access to social connections, we shift our resources to focus more on ourselves, leading to distress, ill health, limited attachment and achievement. The walls get smaller in. When our lives are rich in social connection, however, we can move mountains. And indeed, we are happier, healthier, and more generative, because together we can move mountains. And this is the essence of what we are celebrating this morning in welcoming and honoring our newest members. What does it mean to be human, to be loving, to open ourselves up to new connections, to new wisdom, new stories, new ways of being? Our brains are wired for it. So welcome again, new members. We have so much to learn from you and with you. Author and futurist Alvin Toffler said that the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. We are invited here in this time and space and in this community to unlearn the lies that fear and scarcity and judgment and oppression, both internal and external, instill in us, and relearn again and again what it means to live by our shared values. to honor that divine spark within every being, to receive others' stories and to be moved to compassion and action. Because together we can move mountains. We can transform what it means to belong by our grace, our compassion towards our collective liberation. Now, someone here this morning needs to be reminded of this message, because it begins deep within us. Not only are we wired for it, but that spark of the divine. Each of us has gifts to share so we can learn and unlearn and relearn together what it means to be truly complex human beings in all of our messy glory. Did not promise to be easy. In this moment, to be human in all of its messy, complex, bruised, and yet healing glory, with our hearts open and our spirits at the ready, together we can move mountains because we are wired for it. To close, I will share a prayer adapted from Enfleshed. May the weary find a soft place to rest. May the privileged and protected escalate acts of solidarity. May the courageous grow in multitudes. May the creatives invite us into the truths we need to feel. And may we be open to all of it, one connection at a time, for the good of us all. Amen, Ashe, and may it be so.